Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Steve Lake right here at the Messenger and the Messenger Studios. And today I've got a special guest. Brett Pyles is here in the studio. We are live. And we're here to get an update from Brett, so I'm glad to have him in studio. Obviously, there's a lot of concerns about our water problem. You're going to probably hear it from us, WMMG, and everywhere else that we can get it posted so that you know what's up in the area this week. So, welcome, Brett. Let's talk shop. What's going on with the water in the community?
Absolutely. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me. We always try to.
Glad to have you.
Thank you. We always try to reach out to our customers in any way we can. We are having similar issues that we had this same time last year, where we have more demand for our water than water we can pump.
Yeah.
And we are absolutely working on projects to try to improve that. It is just a very slow process for the one of the projects, the 1638 interconnect. The government, we have to get approval for an easement from the federal government on Fort Knox property.
Yeah.
They told us up front this will take as much as 12 months just to get the approval.
Wow.
And that's just them. We also have to go through archaeological studies and environmental studies that are a part of that. We're also using some grant dollars with that, which is about $8 million. The total project's going to be close to 18.
Oh, wow.
And so we have no choice but to borrow the dollars for the rest of it through USDA rural development.
Well, hopefully some of our elected officials are helping try to...
They have. They've been great. They've done what they can, as much as they can. Obviously, we would like to have more because the more grant... The water district only has funding for capital projects two ways, and that's through grants or borrow the money. Yeah. And when we borrow the money, of course, there's a payment tied to that. And so that will mean that we will have to increase rates to accommodate those payments.
Yeah, well, the natural question is going to come back where do the payments go from the consumer that uses the water? Where does that money go?
That money goes into our fund when we bring in water bills each month to operate. We operate in accordance with PSC regulations, which is cost-based rates.
Yeah.
We don't have a bottom line or a stock to improve the dividends or whatever. We don't have that. We don't have millions of dollars sitting in the bank just waiting. We operate on pretty much just what we need to operate is what we recover. And those rates, although we had a small increase last year of like 2.6% or something like that, I've been looking at our cost and what have you compared to 2021, and our costs are up across the board about 40%.
Well, I think costs are up above the board everywhere.
Yes.
And that doesn't help when you're trying to plan a budget when it consistently rises within the same year that you're trying to operate.
That's right.
Especially with fuel costs and everything else, because it costs money to operate equipment, transport to these locations, et cetera. It adds cost to the project.
That's right.
So a lot of people are going to ask, well, so what are the impacts of this water? What does it mean to us as the consumer? What should we be doing?
We're asking our customers to conserve their water. Don't water your lawn. Don't do things like that. Don't turn the water sprinkler on just for the kids to play in it, that type of thing.
But my garden, I just planted a garden.
Yeah.
So my garden
I certainly understand.
Yeah.
But that's not essential to life, and so we can keep people in water at the current time, because we're just right against our limit of what we can pump.
Do you think there'll ever be a time where we're independent from others and have our own water treatment plant or make our own water?
I certainly hope so. That's definitely in the board's long range plan, is to have our own water plant to where we can produce the water, and we could become a seller of water, not only to us, but maybe some other systems out there.
What would be the costs associated with if today funded fully funded to go put a water plant in. Obviously, there's inflation and all that other stuff years from now. But if 18 million was going towards that, would that even be enough to cover the cost of putting in a water treatment plant?
Not quite. Not quite. It's going to be, in today's dollars, it's estimated between 25 and 30 million to do that.
Wow. But that also includes and probably incorporates recirculation of sewer and some other things too.
Well, really, no, because that's not popular in Kentucky right now.
Okay.
There's other states that are using reclaimed water.
Sure, I know that. Like in Texas, you had to, if you wanted water in Wichita Falls, you had to flush in Dallas just to get, no, I'm just kidding.
It's about the truth.
Yeah, especially when they had a drought.
Yeah.
So why don't we just get our water from the city or from the river?
The two reasons there. The city is, and I'll let them speak to their situation, but I don't think they have the capacity to provide us with the amount of water we need. Also, they use a chlorine disinfectant where we use chloramines, and you can blend those two waters. It won't hurt anything, but it will smell and taste awful.
Yep.
And that's just not somewhere you want to go.
Have there been in? Let's see. I guess the tough question is, why have improvements not been made?
And we've started working on those from day one almost since I started with the water district a little over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And everything is so drawn out and long and so tedious sometimes in the process.
So it's not the planning, it's the execution because of all the other things that are in the way, the requirements to execute. In other words, you had mentioned earlier the archaeological survey, the ecological survey, and other things, and then other people that are in our way, meaning that we're having to go through other entities, lands, or properties for those authorizations.
That's correct, and it's just so many regulations that we have to go by, federal, state, and we have to jump through all the hoops for all that. So the project that where we're going to increase the transmission main from the Flaherty tank to the Garrett tank is a very good short-term solution. We'll also have to upsize the pumps at our Flaherty pump station. We're putting in a different pump station for the Painville area and that tank. And then on top of that, it'll be 1638. Right now, we can pump about 1.3, 1.4 million gallons per day into Meade County.
So it's not a matter of buying more water from Hardin County.
It's available. Absolutely.
But it's about the volume of which you can put to the line.
That's correct. That's correct.
So we could buy all the water. It's not that we can't access water.
That's right.
And get it. It's being able to keep it in the lines in full. So if what you're saying is if everybody in Meade County went and turned on their water line based on the project that's going on, we would not be able to keep the lines full at that pump rate because the pumps are not equitable for that. So this short-term fix would actually increase the pressure available in the waters. So
the volume.
The volume. Right, the volume of water. But if everybody's thing is open, you still need that sucker to be able to pump the volume in to keep the lines full without air in it, right?
That's correct.
Okay,
that's
got
correct.
it. So it's a hydraulic. That's like hydraulic
That
101.
That is.
Okay.
That absolutely is. And right now we have a bottleneck going under Highway 60 of an 8-inch line that feeds that whole rest of the county.
Wow.
And that it's just been narrowed down, and we're doing something to correct that for now, but also into the future.
Now, does that come out of the 18 million in costs to get those fixed in?
That is a whole
separate project.
That is a separate project.
Okay, great.
That we're most likely going to have to borrow all the funds for that.
So I can let my garden die, but I can still go to the car wash, though. How does that impact like those businesses that have car washes and stuff like that?
We have 0 car washes in our water system. They are all on the city of Brandenburg.
Okay, so it's not a Meade County water problem.
It's not Meade County water.
Okay. And does Nucor affect our water supply at all in any way?
No. See, they buy all their water from the city of Brandenburg also, so it doesn't affect where we're at.
I'm not picking on Nucor at all. I think a lot of us know that they are on the city of Brandenburg supply line after all the drama that went through to make sure that they had the water systems in accordance with the agreements. But I know that that's a big question that's still misunderstood a lot throughout the county because, everybody is a little nervous about change, right? So,
Sure.
But change is a-coming.
And that's human nature.
It is, sure, absolutely. So what will we see 10 and 20 years down the road in the county plan as far as the water district and then our dependency on water or independency on water?
Sure. We have a 25-year plan right now, and we call it a CIP plan, and we look at that probably every 6 months or so to adjust it if circumstances change.
Yeah.
The big thing there is we've looked at the short, the intermediate, and the long term.
Yeah.
For the short term, we've got to get this transmission main from our Flaherty tank to our Garrett tank done, and we're still going through all the approvals and the process. We have to get approval of the plans from Division of Water. We have to get a certificate of need and necessity from the Kentucky Public Service Commission. We're doing it with a rural development USDA loan, so we're having to go through that process. We have to jump through a lot of regulatory hoops just to get this line in the ground.
It's a good thing we have all of your experience because I know that any bureaucracy dealing with the government and getting approval is such a tedious process. It's not like you just fill out an application and it, you scan it in and pen and ink it and it goes in. I mean, it's got to have, there's so many questions on these forms and specific information related to, like, you can't submit this form until you have this done.
That's right.
Because you need this answer in this form. And then once that form goes through, you can't submit this form until you got this answer back from that form. And it's just, it's like a domino effect of bureaucracy.
It is. It is.
And then, so you think 12 months just to get through Fort Knox?
And that's what they told us for that project, and we're probably 4 months into that process.
Well, I got the garrison commander on today. Maybe I'll ask him about it. See if he can expedite our water problem.
Well, he has been, he and his staff have been very helpful.
Yeah,
Judge Koch has really jumped in and helped with that.
Garrison is, I'm just teasing, because Garrison has been a big fan of our county.
Yes.
I mean, they're our neighbors. It's one of the reasons why the paper is split between no longer being just a county paper. It's a Fort Knox, kind of that Radcliffe community right there. Yeah,
area paper.
It is, and it's a community paper.
Right,
because people need to know what's going on and the relationships between and why. And Fort Knox shares a relationship with our neighbors in Hardin County.
Sure.
But honestly, that Radcliffe, Fort Knox, and Meade County make up a lot of our citizen population and our tourism.
Absolutely.
So, but anyway, any other topics that you need the people to know about? So I'd ask that you just speak to everybody out there and just tell them what it is you would like us to do and for how long.
Well, since I put out the press release about conserving water, our customers have responded tremendously. Our demand has dropped just a little bit to where it's easier for us to keep up and maintain.
Yes, sir.
We hate this situation. We would rather not be in this situation. The reasons we're in this situation are just
long-term lack
things
of
that are in the
infrastructure.
past that we're just
can't do that. Can't fix it.
Right. That looking back doesn't do anything to help the moving forward. So we've identified the projects. We have them in place as far as design and approvals. And just nothing happens fast with a water district for projects. Unfortunately, we can't just go out there and just start putting a pipe in the ground and take off.
I think we're very lucky to have Judge Koch because he's very familiar with infrastructure problems in his military career. I mean, some of the sizes of these installations that he was, well, he had numerous installations when he was a two-star out on the East Coast. And some of them, people are like, well, let's just shut it down. And no, that's a bigger problem.
And I want to be clear on part of that process with Fort Knox and getting that approval. The garrison right there at Fort Knox is just part of the approval process. It has to go to MCOM to be approved in Virginia. It has to come back to the Corps of Engineers in Louisville. It has to make its whole.
Uh-oh. There it goes.
Is that better?
That's better.
Sorry
gotcha.
about that.
That's all right.
So yeah, it's they have been great to work with.
Yes.
The staff, all of them. I have absolutely zero complaints. It's just sometimes it gets bogged down in the process.
Yeah, and it's important for people to know that when you do these projects like this, first of all, you don't just go and willy-nilly it. Once you get all these approvals and everything else, the OSHA requirements for just the workers that have to put all this stuff in place, it is a process. But when you mess with infrastructure, you want it to be set it and forget it, and it be a long-term solution, not a short-term stab. And that honestly is what we've been doing for so long, that we've led to these bigger problems. But over time, you don't know what your capacity is going to be, or the growth rate. You can estimate a growth rate, but we know where we're going as far as a county for the next 25 years, and in 25 years, this problem will be a different problem. But the goal is to be able to do slow upgrades as we progress through 25 years, so that we're not 25 years from now and then doing something then. We're constantly doing improvements along the way. And you've talked about many of these improvements that are coming up. But in the next 2 years, besides the pump and Flaherty and the Garrett pump?
Garrett transmission main.
So between those and then this one where
1638.
Yep.
That's a new interconnect. We're getting another 2 million a day that we can bring into the county. We'll have 4 million gallons a day once all these projects are done that we can bring into Meade County, which should supply Meade County well into the future.
Now, and then obviously the people that are going to be out there saying, well, I still like water. I'd like it out. It's only a foot away from my meter or whatever. Yeah. You can't start adding lines until you have the infrastructure in place. And I think most generally would know that. But in the 25-year plan, do you see some of the extensions growing in the next 25 years? To
oh, absolutely, absolutely, and that's what prompted us to look at this, is that we need to get more lines into the county on roads that are unserved. We want to get, our goal is to get water to every person in Meade County that wants it.
That's right.
The thing with that is we also have to be able to get the water to them.
That's right. Hawaii exists. It's out in the Pacific Ocean, but if you don't have a way to get there,
that's right.
Train, and you aren't. It's not a train, a plane, or a boat. If you don't have either of those two items, and they're not sturdy enough to withstand the Pacific currents or the jet stream, you're never going to see Hawaii. You know what I mean? So you got to have an airport.
Yep.
Just fly it out of, and you got to have a dock to load up on to get a big old ship like that out. So
infrastructure is important. It's key to any kind of development or anything you do, and we have to be very cautious about development and not letting it overwhelm our system or us.
That's right.
And that unfortunately that's something that's kind of thrown a cog. A monkey wrench into the cog is that on top of that, then you get all this new development, and even the Blue Oval, that development affects Meade County. We have,
because water is going to them as well from Hardin County, our supplier.
And according to the Lincoln Trail Area Development District, Meade County has the highest median household income than any county around us, including Hardin County.
Because a lot of them work at Fort Knox.
Or Louisville or Hardin County or wherever. So, that was a surprising statistic to me.
That's why our property taxes are higher than Hardin County. So anyway, that's a different subject for a different time. Well, Brett, I just want to say thank you for being on the show today. I'm glad you get the word out. Any final thoughts?
Yes, absolutely. And if there's any folks out there that have any kind of questions, that want to know anything, we are an open book. Give me a call at the office, and if I'm not there or I'm out doing something, they'll take a message. I will call you back and be glad to answer anybody's questions.
Brett, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you,
Super glad
Steve.
to have you. Listen, guys, the word is out. So, don't start shouting. It's just something we have to do right now. These are problems that have been building and building for time, but the people are in the right places at the right time to make sure that this is a long-term fix. So glad to have you on the show, Brett. And just please heed the warning. This is going to go on for about how many weeks?
I hope we have a solution, at least a short-term solution in place by the end of summer.
Okay.
That's what we're shooting for.
So be conservative. If your pool dries up, don't fill it up. Talk to you guys later.